Okay, people. I hope I can do this in a good amount of time. I'm out to go grab me something to eat. I just do on a house dress. So, yeah, out and about. This is my second time outside today. But they real short runs. It is hot out here. Like before 12 o'clock, it was over 90 degrees. That's hot and uncomfortable. So I just been in the house. And other than that, everything is all good. I hope you guys are good. Hope everybody is doing well, being safe, especially around this holiday weekend. Please be safe. You know, if you have the firecrackers, be safe with those fireworks. I'm not a fan of those things. They loud and people are rude. They be popping them all early, late at night, as if nobody else in the community got to go to work or just want to go to sleep. And I want to hear all of that. My area's been doing a little bit better, but still, it happens. And be careful with the kids. I know young people use the firecrackers, the fireworks, you know, with supervision. Make sure that you're supervising these children. Seriously. I've seen kids do it before. I know it can be done, but it really makes me uncomfortable. So I just wanted to say, please watch out for your little people during this holiday weekend if they're playing with any fireworks. All right, let's get into it because I don't have a lot of space on my phone. I'm like the worst with this technology, so I'm going to have to kind of talk quickly. So please SLS me, subscribe, like, and share, por favor. I appreciate it. I also appreciate any comments that's left here at the bottom. I also appreciate whenever you hit me up at sugarfreelifecoaching@yahoo.com. If you have any comments, feedback, any topics or scenarios that you would like me to discuss on the channel, please hit me up. If you're interested in any kind of life coaching, one-on-one, undisruptive life coaching, hit me up at sugarfreelifecoaching@yahoo.com. And let's go ahead and get into this Saturday afternoon, early evening rather. So this topic, I was talking to a couple of co-workers, and this topic came up about Dwayne and Gabrielle Union Wade and the child that he had outside the relationship. And I think this is kind of old news. I don't think this has happened anytime recently. But it was a topic of discussion. And people, you know, not people, we all just kind of gave our, the people behind me, the ambulance. So, everybody kind of gave their input on what they thought or whatever, and it had me thinking. And I made a comment because one of the women had mentioned how, according to people talking online, and of course this is only on the internet, like nobody knows for sure, but people are talking about how the wife, Gabrielle Union, is dictating the amount of time and the amount of engagement the child has with her family. And you know, not wanting her to, that they think that she's wrong for not wanting to include the child in various events and different family functions. And it kind of, it made me think, like, if this is true, and you know, he's actually allowing her, thought this would help with the lighting, but it's not. But if he's actually allowing her to dictate the relationship that he has with his son, he's a punk. I mean, if this is actually happening, no doubt. But because, I mean, at the end of the day, you made a decision, you did something, and it kind of comes as a package. To not be in the child's life, and for her to even ask of you not to be in a child's life as heavily, is ridiculous. It's also humanly, culturally, and something else wrong. You know, it's unacceptable, that behavior, to do that to a child, because the child is going to grow up, and you not being there because you did what you did is ridiculous. Taking care of the finances, because it seems like she's okay with the financial portion of it, but just not the time spent. And that would be stupid on her part too. I mean, at the end of the day, you married him, it is what it is. And it kind of made me think about a conversation that I had with a friend of mine, and he was sharing with me some things that his mother had told him once he became a young man, I would say like in the teens and early 20s, about people stepping out, men stepping out in the neighborhood and, having a woman in the neighborhood and outside of his family and being over there on the weekends or whatever, and then coming back home to his primary residence. And it was all good. It was all, knowledge of the neighborhood. And it was the woman at the home, the primary home. She didn't act up or, make a big scene about it. It was what it was. And what baffled me about that was two things. One, that he sounded like he would really like that kind of setup in 2020. And two, that it made me question, like, where did this come from where the guy could be in another full family relationship and, it's acceptable, it's knowledge, but people really don't talk about it. It's more kind of hush-hush. Like, why wasn't it the woman that could do this? I mean, why he could go around the corner to Judy on the weekend, but I can't go around the corner to Harry on the weekend. It just doesn't seem fair. I mean, at least let's split it up throughout the year. You get Judy 6 months, I get Harry 6 months. But for it to be so acceptable, and I've seen it, I've seen it over the years when I was younger, everything was so black and white, I didn't understand the shades of gray. And I mean, the guy, what he said, was one of the things that he said was the reason for it is because the men were the providers and took care of the home, and they went to work, and they made the bread and butter. But if you think about it, when the women are the ones that are home and they're the homemakers and they're taking care of the children, they're working 365 days, 24 hours a day. Outside, of course, they're sleeping, but still, you got that ear, listening out for the kids or whatever. So she really never gets a break. The men, on the other hand, they actually have vacation time where they don't have to come into work. They don't have to get up as early. They can actually sleep in and not do, the job that they're hired to do on that day. But women, on the other hand, even if they get a vacation, it's going to most likely have the kids involved. So they're never really free of it. So if anybody should be able to step out and get a break, it should be the women. But, of course, stereotypically, that's not the case, for whatever. But it made me think about how people, the acceptance that people have in their relationships. And it also brought up the fact that when I see people and I hear people mention, how things are so different when they got married, and that's one of the things that his mother had mentioned. So, going back to that, she had gotten married with her second husband. And the second husband drank and gambled and, had women, and the women called the house, and people talked about her on the street. But she hung up the phone. She never entertained the women that called. She kept her head high when she walked the streets. And she said she wasn't going to let anything disrupt her home. And now, years later, he is into the church, very active in the church. He doesn't curse, he doesn't gamble, he doesn't drink. Excuse me. So all the things that, she most likely wanted in the beginning of the relationship, she got towards the, the middle and the end of the relationship. And I just think how selfish that is. It's like, so this is the prize. Like, I really don't get like a real prize, like no money at the end, like all that stuff that I went through. All I get is that now you're older and you probably can't do what you used to do before. Maybe you have some ailments, whatever the case may be. So now you're sitting still. And after all that drama and heartache and embarrassment that you put me through, and it's just, again, relationships are so different. They're so personal. The tolerance level on for one person is totally different than the next person. What you're willing to deal with in your relationship, somebody else may not be able to. So when you look at relationships, please keep in mind that you don't know what they deal with behind closed doors. It may look all gravy and pretty and romantic and, everything that you want it to be. But at the end of the day, when those doors close, you don't know how these bills are being paid. You don't know what kind of issues they're experiencing, what kind of trust issues they're having, but they play the game, and they play the facade very well. So I guess I say all of that because, talking about the Wades and then talking to my friend, and his mother had said the biggest thing, this is what I wanted to say, is that she mentioned she knew what she was getting into when she married her husband. So it wasn't a surprise to her, his behavior, and she didn't have any expectations of him making any real changes. And I thought that that was the key to it. For me, that was the key, and it was like, okay, that makes sense, do your thing. Because when you accept the person that you marry prior to marrying them, there's no real reason to complain. If they were acting a certain way, if they were gambling, him or her were gambling for the 2 years or 5 years that you would get together prior to getting married, don't expect them to stop gambling once you get married. If they were sleeping with other people every now and again, before you got married, don't expect them to stop doing it. You accepted them. I believe when you marry somebody, you're accepting them for who they are at that time. You said, you know what, this is who I want. I love you enough. Maybe this too shall pass. Maybe it won't, but I still want you in my life, and I want to be your wife, and I want to be your husband. So you're accepting. And it's crazy when I hear people have these crazy expectations that just because they said their vows, because yes, the vows absolutely mean something, but if the person is not respecting you prior to a vow, then what? I don't understand how you expect it to change tremendously just because they made a vow, granted it's, to God and in front of their family and witnesses, and y'all spent all these thousands of dollars to make this happen. But at the end of the day, that person's character spoke way before you said I do. Way before you said I do. So you are accepting, you should be accepting of the person that you married, and in hopes that things change. Maybe something will change, not to give up on things changing, but you have to accept it, because don't expect this humongous 100% change and difference just because you married the person. And yeah, I think that was the biggest thing that I wanted to say today, is having acceptance for whatever you were dealing with prior to getting married, whatever you're dealing with in a long-term relationship. If you just decide to stay, then you just stay. You stay, you deal with it, you pray on it. You don't give up on the person. You still make your little suggestions, but overall, you just accept where that person is. I think I got off on the wrong exit. I mean, this is the long way. I'm still going to get there. But I'm not good with that whole talking, that multitasking and talking and got a destination. I ain't always the bestest with that one. But I'm doing well. This was a nice ride. I'm glad I was able to talk to you guys. I'm going in a circle. But, yeah, so that's about it. I just wanted to give a little take on that, because it was something that I was definitely thinking about after we had spoken. I thought about it while we were speaking, and then when I, departed from them, I was like, you know what, this kind of coincides with the conversation that I was having with my friend and what his mother experienced. So that's about it, people. I'm about to grab my food and take it onto the house and watch a couple of movies today. And I guess just keep it low key, keep it low key. What else am I going to do? But I'm grateful. I don't want to sound like I'm not. I'm super grateful. I've got a lot of pluses in my life. So you guys, you make sure that you stay grateful. Make sure that you stay safe. Remember that you have a lot of blessings. Some things may not always look like blessings, but they're blessings in disguise. Blessings in disguise. You never know. You can turn that, what they say, turn that frown upside down. And it's just the way you look at it. It's about perception. All right, people. So be safe. Take care of you. Take care of your family. And as always, deuces.